Hey there, welcome to the channel. So today I want to take a look at what's going on for the week ahead here. All right, so the week ahead, it's going to be an interesting week. So basically, we have a couple things going on. We have basically second quarter GDP is coming out, and the indications are right now that the GDP is going to be negative for the second quarter, and it was already minus 1.6% for the first quarter. So that's two negative GDPs, 2 quarters of negative GDP in a row. So kind of in a recession. Now, of course, that won't be official until that NBER organization, whatever, decides that it is. But either way, we're kind of like in a recession. So what will happen with that? Will the market like be shocked by this? Hard to say, given that there's, the NowCast and stuff shows negative GDP. So the market should be pretty well aware of it. But then the other thing, a bunch of earning, all the big tech guys, the Apples, the Microsoft and stuff. And then the final thing too, is we got the Federal Reserve is going to have a rate meeting, and they're expected to raise by 3/4 of a point. So that's kind of could be a busy week. There was talk like last week where basically what was going on. There was a period of time where when the CPI came out, where they was talking about going like 1%, but it doesn't look like that really is going to happen, or at least they're not expecting it. People aren't expecting it to happen right now. So it kind of looked like on Friday, we had kind of a little bit of a down day, but it kind of, we kind of made some progress getting up here, but we really did kind of get clipped. And so we really on like a trend line. Yeah, I don't know. But you could sort of see, we could kind of say that we've been riding a channel. We've been up and down this channel going down, and we tried to kind of get out to break up. We broke up above this, some little bit of resistance here, but we really, this would be the major one here at this 415 on the SPY to get above. And, we're not there yet. And so it's kind of interesting that it kind of hit what could be considered the channel and kind of came down. So that's kind of where we're at right now with that. Now, one thing I wanted to look at is I had some of this UNG, which is the ETF for the natural gas. And this thing has just had quite a run, right? And so I had gotten some down here. This is not financial advice. This is just me doing my own thing. So, I mean, this had like a kind of a run here. Right now, it's up 55% in this little period of time during the month of July. Now, of course, I didn't get that whole thing for sure, but it's kind of had this nice run. And the question I was looking at is, why is this going up so much? What's going on with natural gas? Why is it having this huge run? So I wanted to go ahead and look at that. So one of the things is, here's the actual Henry Hub natural gas price. This is where like the US pricing is. And you can see that, yeah, we've kind of broken up and gone out. We're not to all-time highs that we've had or highs that we had back in 06 and 08. So we're not up to there, but we're well on our way. We've kind of broken out. And, the question, I think, from my perspective, is why is it going up so much? So one of the things is we have, Gazprom here has resumed gas deliveries through the Nord Stream pipeline, but at 40%. And so the issue is that what's going on here? Is the market kind of smelling this, that there's going to be demand for natural gas in Europe? Now, the problem is, the Henry Hub, I mean, you can't get much of that natural gas over to Europe. I mean, sure, there are some, natural gas ships where you compress it, blah, 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 and turn it liquid natural gas or whatever, you liquefy it and you compress it, whatever, and yeah, on those big ships. But the thing is, like, there was a fire at one of the ports, and also it's a very small amount of gas that you can actually deliver that way. So my point is, you're pricing Henry Hub UNG over here, your pricing it is going through the roof, but like, it's kind of interesting because why that, if that's because of the thing in Russia, it doesn't really mean that the people that are delivering gas in the domestic US lower 48 can actually, does it mean a thing to them, because they can't get that gas to where it's needed the most, so that's kind of an interesting thing. So what I did for the natural gas, I took a look at the inventory data. So let's go look at that. I have the natural gas inventory data. So this comes out on a weekly basis. And just to keep in mind, what happens in the US is we have a lot of natural gas storage. They have these salt caves or salt deposits somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is, but we have the capability of storing a lot of natural gas. Now, if you look at this chart, you can see that on a yearly basis, the gas is, the storage amount is going up and down depending on what time of the season is. And we can really see it if we replot this data with the month or the week on the x-axis. So what we do is to just take the existing data from the EIA, and now we just plot it. So this is the week. So this is week 0 through week 52 of the year. And we can see for all these different years here, this is the inventory. So you can see most of the time that the inventory is declining during the first part of the year. So remember, so this is going to be January. Okay. So January is normally pretty cold in the northern part of the US. So gas is being taken out of inventory because we're using it for heating homes, blah, blah, blah. And then you can see that it starts going up into the spring and into center. And what's going on there is, it kind of goes through and like you see that it kind of slows the inventory accumulation slows a little during the summer. But then it starts to go up again high until we get into the winter months. And then once it's there, it starts going down. So you can see this is on every year. Now, so what's going on in 2022? Like when you look at the chart, they have the plus or minus min max 5-year average. And what we can see just looking at the 12 years, I have 12 years of data, this bright purple line. I mean, we're right in the middle of it. So if you're looking at this line and saying like, at least as it stands right now, is our inventory low? Dangerously low? Well, it's on the lower side, but we've been lower before in 2018 and looks like some other year there. So we've been lower some other years. I mean, I guess we are on the low side in terms of our inventory storage. And the curve isn't very steep. So if you look here, the curve is the slope of this is not very steep. So maybe that's what's going on here. In other words, even though you start having demand, you still want to keep it going in. Now, if this slope is tapering off, then we could find ourselves going outside the bands here, going outside and really struggling to get enough natural gas into inventory for the winter months. And I wonder if that's what maybe is going on, because if we look at this, you could think about, well, we know it's very hot right now. So that's caused a lot of demand for electricity, which is a lot of demand for natural gas. So maybe that's what's going on. So I'm sort of inconclusive on this. And the reason I'm inconclusive as to, so basically I had, bought some of the natural gas and I bought whatever, 4 units of it. And I sold 3 out of the 4 units because I'm just like, hey, this thing is going to come down at some point is what I figure. I'm just trading it. I'm not, investing it for long term. I'm just trading the thing. So I'm like, take some of my money, let some of it ride, that type of a thing. Because when I look at this, it doesn't seem that horrible. But of course, looking at it again, I mean, we're to the low side. There's only 2 years where it had lower inventory at this, and that was 2012. And this blue line, which could be 2010 or it could be 2016, I'm not sure. But so, yeah, I mean, maybe the level is low, but maybe what's kind of going on here is that the slope of the increase in natural gas inventory, maybe that's not steep enough so that will be sufficiently high. So maybe that's what's going on in natural gas. I'm not totally buying it, but whatever, when I'm trading something, price is the primary thing. So you can have price going up. It doesn't have the volume. Well, that's problematic, but hey, price, I'm making money on price, not anything else. All right, so that's the nat gas. Let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit of crypto stuff. Okay, so there was this SEC had filed insider trading charges against 3 people. And this seemed to be a very direct kind of simple thing where it's like, okay, these people were getting heads up of when basically it looked like it was Coinbase was going to list a crypto where you're going to be able to buy and sell it. So obviously, if you could get a hold of that crypto before it was available on Coinbase, you stand to make a bunch of money, right? Because basically most people, like, they don't know about the crypto. It's very hard for them to find the crypto and on Coinbase, it's suddenly very easy to find it. So it could be very valuable. So, but underneath that charge, there's something that there's very interesting is what they're talking about. While the SEC has identified cryptocurrencies as securities in the past, typically it did so in enforcement actions or settlements with the issuer. But Thursday's complaint is the first time SEC identified several cryptos as securities without charging the issuers. And then they list out the particular tokens that they list. Now, if we look at some of these tokens, I mean, these aren't doing well, but all crypto isn't doing well. So if we just look here, here's this one, XO. I mean, it's fractional. It's gotten the crap kicked out of it. All these guys have gotten the crap kicked out of it. So some of these seem to be really dogs. But the interesting thing about the crypto, so what is the issue with that is that if the SEC considers something a security, you can't just go out there and sell it without all these disclosures. So basically, if you had a company and you wanted to go public, even on pink sheets, whatever, especially if you want to go really public on a major exchange, if you were even able to, if you had enough capitalization and all that stuff, the amount of disclosures you have to go through, and they call it the S1 and all that stuff. I mean, just immense amount of disclosures and everything like that. So it's very, very difficult to do it quickly. It's very, very difficult to, you have to disclose all this stuff. And that's why it's actually good to read the filings, because even on the quarterly reports, annual reports of these companies, they will just down in the nitty gritty, they'll be telling you all this stuff, marketing all the time, but down in those reports, they will reveal, because they have to, the lawyers make them, they'll reveal all this stuff. And so my point is that if these are securities, it's and if they were issued as securities, but yet all the security paperwork was not filed. If these were also, the other thing is, like, depending on the situation, you can't just market securities. There's different ways. You can do private placement type securities, but that's only to qualified investors. And that is that bar is up in the $2.5 million range. So you have to have a net worth of 2.5 million and cash amounts and stuff like that. And if you're not what they would call an accredited investor, then they can't market to you. And that's why you'll see this very often, like when they talk about things, when people are being responsible, they're like, I'm not marketing this security to you, because they can't, because it's against the law for them to do that. So now, if this is the case with crypto, it's a very problematic thing, because it means that they broke the law, right? And that means that someone in these 9 are actually related to companies. These tokens listed were Flexas, so it's some company or group, AMP, and all these are all related to particular companies that have issued these. And if these things are going to be treated as securities, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know what the play is going to be here, but I would assume, like, if you marketed a security and didn't follow the rules, you're an SEC violation. So there'd be a bunch of investigation, a bunch of charges filed. That would be one aspect of it. And then the other aspect of it is just like, well, immediately stop trading the securities, delist them. And that would mean that, all these crappy securities here, okay, at least right now you can trade them for 85 cents. That's a pretty good one there, or 4.22 cents, or 0.67 cents. So at least now you can trade them and you can get something back. But even though back here you were kind of like, it was at 6 cents, and all the way down here it's down at, wow, just terrible performance. But the point is, I mean, I don't know what the SEC is going to do here. The fact that they label them as securities, what is the how do they handle that? I would think that they don't handle it by ignoring it and by just letting these things keep being out there trading. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point that they're going to just do something where they're going to be like, look, these are our securities. You didn't follow the security rules. You need to delist them. And, basically what would they do? I don't know. They could sue all the major exchanges, Coinbase, et cetera, say, look, we're suing you to stop listing all these things that we think say are securities, right? They could do stuff like that. And otherwise, and then also file a bunch of charges and fines and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I just found that kind of interesting. It's another, problem in the crypto space. I think that, just given that, you take a, these cryptos are like how people, Dogecoin, this coin, Ethereum, like in a way you're marketing it, and you're marketing as a security, and there's no doubt that people are at least implying that the value of it's going to go up. So they're selling you, in essence, a security. I think they're all a security. I think that's the way they've been kind of sold. And I just wonder if the SEC is going to really have to come down with the hammer really hard on this stuff, because it's just gotten out of hand now. Like a lot of the bubbles popping, but as I was saying, it seems very, very reasonable, even though we've had, it's been up a little bit. I mean, I don't see any reason why it can't plunk itself back down at 10,000 or zero. No reason that couldn't happen at all. All right, so that's it for this one. Big week ahead. Let's see. The Fed does what they do. The big tech guys, do they meet all their does big tech meet their numbers, make their numbers? Do they complain about inflation and stuff like that? So we'll see. All right, later.